Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is part of Court and Parts,
podcast network featuring pop culture, TV, movie, and geek podcasts. Check out some of our other shows: Geek Gravy, We Got 5, TV Ate My Brain, and Get Real Movies at courtandarts.com.
Coming to you undead from Elm Street in fictional Haddonfield with a beautiful view of Crystal Lake, the podcast where every day is Friday the 13th and every night is Halloween. You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, part of the Core Temp Arts Podcast Network. Here are your hosts, Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is the official horror movie podcast of Core Temp Arts. We're available on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, and TuneIn. The music you are hearing, or will hear, throughout this episode is the Slasher Film Festival strategy, or it's Nightbirds. So go pick up their stuff. My name is Bloodbath.
I'm Brett667, the neighbor of the beast.
And I'm Bub.
And we are here to pump you up with another hour of us talking about your favorite horror films.
Yeah.
I'm coming everywhere.
In this episode number 17, which also happens to be part 3 of our Halloween countdown. Make sure you send us your favorite Halloween movies on any of our social media stuff. We want to send a big old shout out to Kristen and Vern from Film Pasture. They had me on their magnificent show on Sunday. The episode hasn't come out yet, but we talked about some underrated horror films. Part of me wants to tell you all which ones I picked, because we all picked 3, but that would spoil their episode. So I'll post a link to that when it comes out. Thanks again, guys. I had a very good time. Also, this week I will be posting a good Halloween soundtrack on Spotify. Gonna get some essentials on there like Typo Negative and Misfits, but also some other stuff as well. And of course, I would be remiss not to include our contributors, the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. So I'm gonna try to get it up on the World Wide Webs this week, so make sure you give it a listen and let me know what you think. Before we move on to any other segments, Christopher Nicholas answered out our call on social media over what horror films he'd like to watch, and those were Nightmare on Elm Street 1 through 4 and Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. So thank you, Christopher. The Nightmare on Elm Street, they're all they're classics. I love 1 and 3. We're all of us here have at least one that we are just in love with. And I'm pretty into Jeepers Creepers as well. They're great picks for Halloween. So, especially the second one. Very seasonal. Very good job. Let's find out what's going on in our little bubble with Bub. Take it away.
It's that time again. It's Killer News with Bub on Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray.
Bubbles. But, yeah, so this week, Robert Englund kind of came forth, and he said that, he'd like to kind of make the next Nightmare on Elm Street, sequel. And I kind of liked what he had to say. So he's basically saying that what he wants to see in it is, the kids that weren't attacked by Freddy in the original movies. He thinks it would be great to have their story told, and have Freddy attack them. But, since they haven't seen Freddy and what he looks like, each depiction of Freddy would be different, his face would look different for each one. So you'd have, 10 different Freddys in one movie.
Interesting. Would he be directing, or is he going to star?
The way he's sounding about it, he wants to do both. I would be interested to watch that. I would definitely want to watch that. I mean, if anyone's going to do it right, I think he would.
I think he would do a very good job. Yeah, and after the last one, I wasn't too thrilled by it. He was shitting all over that last one before it even came out.
Oh yeah, you knew it was going to happen.
I was like, oh, what a dick. why can't he just, pass the torch cleanly? Why is everybody got to be like this? And then I saw it, and I was like, everything he said was 100% correct.
The thing I love about him, though, is he embraces it. I mean, he's been doing Freddy for like 35 years, and he's not tired of it. Like, this is his calling. Like, this is his life.
And he's like a classically trained actor too.
Oh yeah.
Like he was like a theater actor, and it's funny, they all end up doing shit like this.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Where they get put into genre films and they just never leave them, and they either resent them, and then they're the asshole at the convention that that doesn't want to talk to anybody, and then word gets out, and then nobody wants to talk to them, and they wonder why. Or they're just like in love with what they're doing, like Kane Hodder.
Oh yeah.
And Robert Englund, and what's his name? Was it Gunnar Hansen? He was the first. I forget his last name. I'm even getting it wrong. I'm a little tired today, but the guy who did who was Leatherface, the first Leatherface.
Oh yeah.
Gunnar Hansen, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he before he passed away, like not too long ago. He was like the most fun to have at a horror convention, because he just he was great to the fans, So I'd be interested in seeing that. That's awesome.
Well, it's awesome. Like the way he was saying, he's like, maybe some of the blades are shorter. Maybe I'm a burn victim a little less in certain people's, minds. And I was like, man, I would love to see 10 different Freddys in one movie. Like that would be so cool.
It would definitely make it different. I mean, it wouldn't be the same old Nightmare on Elm Street, because after the third one, I mean, other than New Nightmare, you could stop watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freddy vs. Jason was great, though. I don't care how bad the reviews are. It was perfect for what it was. So.
Oh, I loved it. I saw it in Lowe's movie theater in Wayne, and there was a couple smoking crack in front of me and Kristen. It was great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, they got kicked out real quick.
That's a true experience right there.
Oh yeah, I never knew what crack smelled like, but now I do from seeing Freddy vs. Jason.
Fuck IMAX, man. IMAX is it's not reality.
What else we got?
All right, so here we go. We got McCamey Manor in San Diego. I've never even heard of this horror attraction. I was just looking for killer news this week, and it attracts 25,000 people annually. But people deem it more of a horror boot camp than a haunted house. So this thing lasts, like you guys buy your tickets, it lasts 8 hours. You're not in it for 20 minutes, you're in it for 8 hours.
Damn.
And people say you get, people have gotten haircuts, they've been bound and gagged, like they have you sign a waiver, like right when you buy your ticket, like, hey, don't sue us, It sounds awesome but terrible.
So is it like the Blackout Experiment, where they kidnap you in the middle of the night and torture you for 3 days?
Just 8 hours, It sounds like you're going to work, but, I think it sounds awesome. I would do it.
No. No.
Brett's like, no.
I would do it.
There's a, out where I'm at, there was a legitimate, it's not a haunted house thing, but I wish I could remember who it was, but it was this guy that did makeup and shit, and I don't think I've ever screamed so high pitch in my entire life. And in the back of my head, there's Logic Brett that is screaming, "It's a dude with a fake fucking chainsaw! It's a dude with a fake fucking chainsaw!" And they stuffed me in a room with these nurses that were Silent Hill, that had no faces, and it's all red, and it's just it's that strobe, so the nurses are moving all Janky and shit at you, and I'm just no, next room. That was 20 fucking minutes. Give me 8 hours. Nope, I'm dead. I'm gone. Goodbye, world.
Well, on here they're not telling you how much a ticket costs, but I'm thinking, I get my haircut cut for $15, $5 tip, it's got to be at least, $100 to get into this thing.
Your logic is skewed.
For you, I wouldn't do it, because you, out of the three of us, you definitely have the best hair.
Oh, thanks.
It's really nice. You look like you were in the Clash circa 1980. Looks good.
Combat rock.
You look like Combat Rock.
But yeah, I don't know, McCamey Manor. I think I might have to do it. Me Camey, me see, me likey.
And that's our show.
Thank you for tuning in.
All right, so for our third part of Killer News, a man found a missing person shrine in the woods of Long Island. I don't know, man. Long Island scares me. Like you got the Long Island serial killer. They never caught that guy.
The cropsy thing.
There's this guy. Yeah, you know what they found? Like those chicks dead on the beach. That whole thing. And this guy James Rankin was hiking in Berkeley Jensen County Park in Long Island this weekend, and he basically was like an hour into the woods, and what's he find? A bunch of trees, right? But stapled to them are all these missing persons pictures from Long Island. So like, there's like, from the picture that I saw online, there was like 40 different pictures of people stapled on the thing. And I'm pretty sure there's a YouTube video. He's like, I need to get the fuck out of here. He's like, we need to turn around and go.
Fucking milk carton kids and shit.
It's pretty scary. I mean, think about it. Like hiking, you see a clown. That's a big thing right now. No big deal. Yeah. You're out there doing your clown stuff. I don't care. I'll walk right by you. But, a bunch of pictures stapled to trees, and like, these people are missing. Like, I ain't walking past that. Like, I don't want to be one of those. Like, that's how horror movies start. You walk past that thing, then you're a picture on that tree.
Yeah. Yeah, it would freak me out.
It's real.
That's some like Clinton Road rumor shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some level of dedication that I'm not touching that.
I'll do Clinton Road all day. Bring me to West Milford. I'll do it.
I love Clinton Road, man.
Dude,
it's great. It's a good time.
Clinton Road's just a bunch of bored kids,
That's all it is. It's just a bunch of bored kids on a weird, strange road. That's it. There's nothing else to it.
You want to flash your lights at me? I'll spin my car around and stick my gun out the window.
You got anything else?
One more thing.
All right.
So, John Carpenter, he's upset again. I was just talking about the clown thing. He says enough's enough. He came out today on the internet. He's like, cut your shit. No more clowns. We get it. He's real pissed off about it. He's like, like scaring kids is one thing. Chasing them around with chainsaws with no blades and like just coming out and doing that stuff. Like the kid in Walmart driving the hearse around. He's like, cut your shit. We're done. That's from Mr. John Carpenter. He's pissed.
What is the big deal with this clown thing? Like, they're clowns. They're dressing up as clowns. Who cares?
That's how I feel.
Just punch one. If he comes after you, you can punch him.
Right?
Don't kill them. You're like, I'm gonna shoot a clown. I hear it all the time. People talk about it all the time. I'm just like, oh, shut up. You would miss. You would totally miss. You would never hit a clown. But just punch him. Just take a big old swing at his face. No more clown. Let him do his thing. If he comes too close, hit him. Done. It's not a big deal. It's making it more of a sensation than it needs to be. So part of me doesn't really, John Carpenter. Maybe a clown scared him. Maybe he's scared of clowns.
I like that he's getting old and he's pissed off.
He's a cranky guy.
He's fucking cranky. Like, and I like it.
I like it too. I kind of like it.
Who doesn't like it?
But still, I don't agree. I don't agree with him. I mean, just.
He also said.
Run.
He also said when.
Run the. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He also said when you shoot him, you gotta shoot him in the eyes. And then all this green fucking lightning shit's gonna come out of him. Then you know you got him.
With beautiful CGI.
The best CGI you'll ever see will come out of real life clowns.
With sparkles and cotton candy.
Love it.
All right, so let's take a deep breath and dive headfirst into some of these films for our Halloween countdown. I think it's fair to say that even if you guys didn't like any of these films, you will agree that they are good movies to watch in October as you're counting down to Halloween. I think they're at least that. So, Brett is shaking his head going, no.
I will agree that one of them is a film, as in it was shot with actors.
What's the other one?
the other one is a pretty good movie.
All right.
there were obviously cameras there.
Brett's opinion.
You're listening.
Crawl space. Brett's opinion. Crawl space.
You're listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, the official horror podcast of Core Temp Arts.
You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Let us know what you think by reaching out to us. We can be found on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Facebook by simply searching Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. To suggest a film or trailer you think we should discuss, or to comment on this or any other episode, send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. We will always get back to you. Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray, and enjoy the rest of the show.
A funeral parlor? Way out here?
I can't believe we're gonna party here.
Now it's time for party games.
Yeah.
How about a past life seance? A seance?
What the hell was that?
They're pure evil. They're demons.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. Where you going? The party's just begun.
Night of the Demons.
Rest assured, we've got something wonderful planned for you.
All right, let's start off with Night of the Demons. It was released in 1988. It was directed by Kevin Tenney. Body count of 9, naughty count of 2, maybe 3 if you're a teenager. It made $3.1 million on a limited release against a $1.2 million budget shot in 4 weeks. It, of course, produced 2 sequels and a remake in 2009. Night of the Demons 2 is a better movie than the original. It's funnier and it's gorier. The third film is almost unwatchable, and the remake of the original is not nearly as bad as some asshole critics may lead you to believe, but it isn't very good either. Brett667, your chariot awaits.
Oh, wonderful. I can't wait to take a ride on this steed. Judy and her super popular boyfriend, Jay, decide to forego going to the school ice cream social, as it were, to go hang out with some creepy chick at a haunted, it's a crematorium?
Yep.
Yeah, haunted crematorium with a bunch of other kids from school, about 10 kids, and they awake a terrible demonic spirit that begins possessing some of the kids and torturing them while removing the walls, removing any exits from the facility, and haunt them throughout the entire night.
I thought the opening credits were very trauma films.
Mm-hmm.
Very awesome. I liked it. The acting is so bad throughout the entire movie, though.
Oh, it's
so
fucking
bad.
awful.
Trauma movies are better in that regard because they don't take themselves very seriously. There's no degree of seriousness that a trauma film takes itself. The whole film is ridiculously tropey. It's so heavy that it makes it hard to identify with any characters. I've never seen a more complete pool of people that I wanted to see hacked into fucking pieces. Because I hated every one of them. All of them.
Amen, brother.
I just thought that, 3 of those 4 chicks were pretty hot, and the one looked like Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show. So...
Roger wasn't bad. I was okay with Roger. He seemed like the only one that had a brain.
Yeah, he's pretty sensible, but he just wanted to pray all the time. He didn't want to do anything.
I didn't say I had to believe what he believed. I just have to say that he...
No.
I didn't necessarily want him to just destroyed, but...
No, all right, I see your point there, but I'm trying to say is that none of them are very likable. I don't want to be, like, if I'm at a party and all of a sudden we're being attacked by demons... The last thing I want is some guys like, you know what? We could pray these things away. I'd be like, I'm gonna use you as bait so I can leave.
Where's Bob with the gun?
Fucking A.
So Stooge, the character of Stooge, is he a punk or is he a jock? Because I couldn't tell.
That's a real good question.
They were trying to like combine both of those. Maybe they didn't have enough money to afford both, so they just found this big old fat guy, and they're like, okay, you're gonna be a punk jock. What does that mean? Well, you're gonna act like a total alpha, a type A. You're an alpha male type A personality, but you're gonna have a mohawk, and we're gonna spray an anarchy sign on your sweatshirt.
It was confusing.
But I think
he's
that,
the most hateable character in any movie ever.
Oh God, yeah. And I think what I thought of him was I thought like he was like the kid that listened to Limp Bizkit, like the first Limp Bizkit album, and thought that made him edgy as shit, while also being third string offensive lineman on the football team, so he could try to get girls.
So basically, like everybody in my fucking high school that I hated.
Exactly
which is almost
right.
Everybody in my fucking high school.
You know who you
all had a
reminded me of?
Stooge.
The whole time, all I could think of was Bebop from Ninja Turtles. The pig guy with the nose piercing,
Yes.
right? Bebop.
Yeah, it's Bebop.
Whole time.
Who was his partner?
He did
was
have
it, like Rocksteady or something like that?
Rocksteady and Bebop.
Rocksteady
Yeah.
and Bebop, yeah.
He had a good line though. Eat a bowl of fuck. I'm here to party. Which is what I'm getting tattooed on my throat.
I'll pay for that.
So Linnea Quigley is in this movie. She's sort of famous for being the super naked girl in Return of the Living Dead. And this movie came out 2 years after Return, and she looks totally different. Like aged like 10 years.
I totally thought that because I heard the voice. And like I was like,
yeah,
that's that chick who's dancing on that thing.
I love her in Return. I think she's so sexy in that movie, and she's like still like a good-looking girl in this movie. I mean, she's definitely a horror movie babe, but like, I don't know, man. She just I didn't even recognize her. I've seen this movie a bunch of times, and I never put 2 and 2 together until a couple weeks ago. So it was pretty, because I watched this like 3 months ago, and then I watched it again this week. So somebody, and this is where I want to start. I really wanted to start this off, was somebody needed to punch Judy's brother in the fucking face.
Oh my God, yeah.
What a cretin. Right? Sort of creepy that you're spying on your sister while she's changing. Even though she does look a little bit like Barbara Crampton, so yeah, maybe I would.
I love when he's like, those things get any bigger, you're gonna need somebody to tie your shoelaces.
Wow, bodacious boobies, sis.
You got big cha-chas.
So the one thing, like, I'm gonna be straight up real with you. The part of the reason that this movie, it sucks, but I still like it, is where I'm at with it. And part of the reason is because you're well into the second half of the movie before things really get started. And that's what's like, you're just waiting. It's just like these really annoying horrible characters doing seances and being just really lame and kicking around these terrible jokes. And you just want to see it. Just kill one. Just kill one early on. Just keep whet my appetite for this.
Oh yeah.
And you're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then there's, like I said, you go through that lame seance, and they're like dancing around in that living room. And did people actually dance like that?
I was going to say that. I really hoped that nobody ever did, because I would have just walked the fuck out.
Oh, they did, Brett. They did. They did at our parties in the house. They did.
That's true. They did. Okay, yeah, I agree. But I couldn't walk out. Well, I couldn't walk out on a party because there was like 3 out of the 100 people we had in the house that danced like that.
Yeah, but I mean, we had a lot of yuppies in that house. A lot of yuppies.
That's why I only came over on I only ever came over on Sunday afternoons because I knew they'd all be sleeping. They had a rough Saturday night dancing like that.
We were trying to pay the rent with the fucking party money.
Trying? You mean succeeded?
Remember the time we got the huge electric bill?
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, we're not going to cover this electric bill. We need to throw a party in order to pay this electric bill.
It's like $450 because we left the Xbox and everything on straight for like 15 days. And that's when you got the cheap beer, and we were like, all right, $5 at the door.
Anyway, so they have this seance, and then they summon this demon, and the demon just looks awful. Like they didn't even try. It's a puppet. You know what I mean? So that was super lame, but like when it's got that like Sam Raimi type style shooting where they're like running with the camera into the crematorium to get to the demon, I thought that part was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it was great.
But it had already been perfected twice because at this point Evil Dead 2 had already come out.
Yeah.
So.
Can I also comment that the demon looked like, do you guys remember when you were kids and they had like the dinosaur head on a pole and it had like a squeeze point at the bottom and it would chomp? That's what I thought that demon looked like.
Yeah, it's accurate.
And that shit would break like 10 minutes after you got it.
It totally looked like that Dio cover. What's that Dio cover? Where that
the Holy Diver one?
Oh yeah, totally like the Holy Diver cover, right?
I completely agree. Poor man's Eddie.
I thought it looked like a sock puppet, and they just like it looked like what was that fucking? Remember that show on Nickelodeon, Wienerville? Like it looked like one of his Mark Wienerville, and it was a really crude excuse for like the Muppets, and it looked like something that like that guy made. It's terrible, fucking terrible. So, yeah, we were talking about the seance, right? And then they have the seance, and then what's her name? So Linnea Quigley gets infected first, I guess, by the demon, and then she passes it on to Angela, and then these kids start running all over this condemned house, fucking the shit out of each other. They're just banging each other the whole time. Like, who would... I'm sorry, dude. I don't want to bang in that house. I would never, ever do that.
I agree.
Ugh, you get tetanus. Something would happen. Come on.
Although, I mean, sex in a casket is actually kind of interesting.
They were the only 2 decent people there.
That's true. They were.
They found the one decent place to do it, and that's what made them the least annoying.
That guy gave his right arm to do it, though. Think about it.
Yeah.
He was right on to have sex in a casket.
I do like the fact that they, for a split second, highlighted how difficult it was for them to bang in that casket. Kind of like where you're like in a bathtub and you're like, holy shit, this is not the way I envisioned it. Like the fact that they were struggling to try and figure out the situational awareness of how to bone in a fucking casket, but that didn't turn out very well for them.
So everybody's boning. Linnea Quigley's just being weird in the mirror, and then Stooge gets pissed off. he goes and finds Angela, who's all by herself listening to Bauhaus, which is, she looks like somebody who would hang out by herself and listen to Bauhaus and
Absolutely.
and all that. Yeah, and actually, to be honest with you, like, just so I don't want to give the illusion that, like, I'm like, oh yeah, it was bad. I honestly thought that was Christian. I had to look it up. I thought it was a Christian Death song. It was Bauhaus. I'm not a huge over the top Bauhaus fan, but that song in particular is pretty great. Anyway, and then here's where the movie starts to take a turn to get at least a little bit better. Great scene. They start dancing like, she seduces him. They start dancing together, and then she bites his tongue off, and like the camera's spinning and it's going, the whole room is like, seems to be like going crazy, and then he of course turns into a demon after that. And I thought that's like the kickoff for this movie. Everything else leading up to that point was like the pre-game show. Now we're cooking with gasoline. And this is where the movie starts to at least get a little bit interesting after exposing so many flaws in the first 45 minutes. I like that part. What'd you guys think?
I thought it was pretty good, man. I liked it. Like that whole dancing thing though, like in front of the fireplace thing, where she's doing all those ballerina acts and all that type of stuff. It totally reminded me of Evil Dead 2, with Ash's girlfriend outside.
Yeah.
Didn't that totally remind you of that?
That's a good point. I didn't think of that. That's a good point.
Except that it was 14 minutes too long.
Right? You're sitting there the whole time like, come on, get along with it.
Yeah, really.
I brought up that Bauhaus song, but I think that the soundtrack for this movie was actually, they had some pretty good stuff in this. It's something that I would like to pick up.
I enjoyed
that Bauhaus song will definitely be on my Halloween playlist. I promise you that. It will definitely be there.
I mean, that boom box that was in there when she was doing that, there was a TSOL sticker on it.
There's a TSOL sticker on it?
Right.
And in the remake, they play a TSOL song.
Oh, really?
They play Code Blue. There's an Exodus sticker on the car.
Nice.
There's it's the 80s. You got to throw punk tropes in there, man. If it doesn't have it doesn't have at least a punk in there, it can't be a cult classic. I've said this before.
Agreed. Verified.
So another thing is Linnea, when Linnea Quigley's face like morphs when she's in the bathroom, and then she goes into that lipstick scene where she's just drawing a heart on her. I just hit my mic, but when she's drawing a heart on her face, and then that part was fucking creepy.
Oh yeah,
that's like iconic in a lot of circles, I guess. They make masks of, like, you can be her for Halloween, and they have the full mask with all the, like, it's basically like a total replica of her. It's insane.
That's the part where she like pokes out Jay's eyes, right?
Yeah, and she had to rehearse that.
Oh yeah, I bet.
For like 4 weeks, she had to rehearse, like go in and practice eyeball gouging. It's crazy.
I read that. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, though, because when he comes back, he's like, "What's wrong? You don't like a blind date?" Like, I was like, "Yes, perfect."
I like I like where the lipstick went. I was like, ooh, okay, ew, ow.
Yeah, that was insane.
Oh, she makes it disappear into her boob.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to go through the nipple. It was just something I was not expecting, and I was like, it was like one of the scenes in the movie where I was just kind of like, ow, because we've seen so many people I've seen tongues get ripped off and all sorts of shit, but I haven't seen lipstick go through the areola, and I was like, oh, ow, ooh, sensey, totally sensey.
I thought that the girl who played Angela after she turned into a demon actually did a pretty good job, because there's the part where she's like levitating throughout the house, and like it looks creepy, like just the way that she's moving, like she totally had that part down. You know what I mean? I thought that was pretty cool.
I think it's like Sal and somebody else are in like that little corridor, right? And like they're kind of looking over looking around the wall to see her, and she kind
Yeah.
of floats in and floats out. That was creepy.
Yeah, it was good. And for the most part, the makeup in this movie was pretty good. Like they did, I mean, we're not counting like the demon, obviously, but like the makeup for all the characters was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
The one thing that was terrible was their voices when they were possessed, because they just turned to this.
Oh, that's
and it was,
so good. Do it. Keep doing that. Keep doing that.
I don't like doing this. I can't talk like Louis Armstrong for the rest of the podcast. I like it. It was
It's very Batman Begins-ish.
Oh yeah.
Where's Falcone?
Where are the drugs? I do, because I mean, this is one of those movies where it's just hard to make notes about, because there's just a lot of flaws. There's a lot of flaws.
I feel like they're supposed to be though. Like because it's that mid '80s, like 1987, 88 thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you knew it was gonna be that when like they're stealing shit from that convenience store, and she's bent over in that like tutu thing, and she just turns around. She's like, "You guys got sour balls?"
Too bad. I bet you don't get many blowjobs.
Yeah, I knew. Like that set the tone of the movie. I was like, "Oh, what are these?" Okay.
But here's the thing, and I'll say this. I should have said this in the beginning. The thing that's different about horror movies versus any other kind of genre is that even when the movie is bad, you can still find a way to enjoy it. You can watch it all the way through. I mean, it has to be really bad for me to turn it off. You can't watch a bad comedy all the way through.
No, you can't.
You can't watch a bad, even an action movie. It's like, oh, come on. A horror movie, you can just sit there and kind of laugh at its absurdity and make it entertaining for yourself as well.
Well, you have all the other elements in there. Like, there's comedy in this movie. There's action when they're running, Like, I mean, you have the scary parts. I mean, that's what's great about horror movies. All that shit's combined into one,
Yeah, absolutely. I laugh every single time I see that part where Roger jumps out the window. I don't know why it's funny. I just do it every time because he's just like, no way I'm sticking around here. You'll never get me. And he runs out he runs out the window.
He's like, my father's a preacher. I gotta go.
It's just absurd. The effect at the end with the demon like melting into the sky is just, what's the word I'm looking for? Ungood.
Atrocious.
Deplorable.
No, don't start. I will say this though. So I liked how they so in the beginning, some kids are just fucking with this old man while he's trying to walk home, and he is like, you darn kids with your hula hoops and whatever, and he just doesn't, he's just, I hate kids and I hate Halloween. And then Judy tries to help him, and she's like, well, get away from me, you slut. I think he calls her slut, right?
Yep.
I think so,
and then she's like, well, I'm not inviting you to my Halloween party. And then she like runs off. And then you find out that he's got like a bunch of apples and razor blades. And he's going to like try to serve them up on Halloween to get back at these bastard kids. Well, then you don't hear about him for the whole movie until the very end. He goes out and he's getting his paper, and he sits down with his wife that he's been married to for like 50 years. And he's drinking his coffee, and she made him an apple pie while he was sleeping. And it had the apples with the fucking razors in it. And then the razors cut through his throat and stuff. And he dies right there. And she's like, I mean, she knew what she was feeding him.
It might actually be my favorite scene in the movie.
I love it. They come out of his neck like there's a fucking magnet in front of him.
It was amazing. It's actually one of my favorite endings to a horror movie. This is one of my favorite endings. I loved it. I had like that. The reason I like stuff like Trick or Treat and Creep Show and stuff is because of shit like that. They both start off with a story, and then there's a bunch of story in between, and then it ends with the same story that you began with. So I like that kind of that nod to the anthology type thing. So I thought that was pretty cool. Brett, I'm sure you're anxiously waiting to rate this. What's your rating?
I gave it a 1 out of 5. There were some funny parts, and I will totally agree that makeup was great. I thought that an hour and 45 minutes into the movie, when something scary finally happened, or at least it felt that way, by that time I was already so bored, and it was a boredom beyond, I want to see these kids dead. It was just, I don't even want to see these kids anymore. It gets a 1. I highly enjoyed the soundtrack. I enjoyed the makeup effects, and like you said, the ending was very like British comedy Monty Python-esque, where we're going to show you one little quick scene in the beginning, and then we're going to just wait till the end of the movie to have that wrap around. I thought that was actually really clever, like you said. So other than that, I thought it was pretty it was pretty shitty. So 1 out of 5.
You're welcome, Bruce, or excuse me, Bub.
You're welcome. Thanks, man.
You are welcome.
But
you're welcome to share your opinions here. It's an open forum.
Bub, what'd you think?
I'm gonna give it a 2. Because I mean, I've never seen it before, and I liked it. It had me laughing. I like horror movies like that. When it didn't scare me, but it didn't bore me, and I just liked it a little bit. I don't know.
just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I gave it a 2.
Oh, that's my rating.
I gave it a 2.
Take it back.
I thought that the makeup was great. The ending, of course, was great. And there's, a couple one-liners in there that I thought were really good. I hated all the characters. There were, there's a fair amount of nudity. There's hot chicks. That's good enough for me. That's a 2 for me. That's buying, for me, that's buying it on Blu-ray at the right price and only watching it around Halloween. And that's what it is. Nothing more. So with that being said, we're going to take a short break, and you're going to hear from the bride of Bloodbath, and then we'll be back and we're going to talk about Demon Knight. You're listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray.
Can we take a little a tinkle time?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad you said that. Me and Brett have small bladders.
You are listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. We are dedicated to bringing you the show across your favorite medium. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Please send all suggestions to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
Universal Pictures is proud to present the motion picture directing debut of one of America's most talented and respected artists.
Cut! Cut, 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 cut! Oh, hello, kiddies. So glad you could join me. Your pal, the Crypt Keeper, has gone Hollywood in a big way. I'm directing my first feature film. Care for a little shriek preview? For my big screen premiere, I wanted lots of suspense. Special effects, sex, violence. The kind of thing you could really sink your teeth into. Lights, camera, action! It's about a chase through the ages. A race against time. The war between good and evil.
Come on out, everybody! It's time to play!
And the final battle between man...
I'm sorry.
...and demon.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I lied.
It stars Billy Zane from Dead Calm, William Sadler from Die Hard 2, and Jada Pinkett from Menace to Society. Ooh, I love those titles. And you'll love Demon Knight.
They're here! The demons are here!
And ladies, if you think Demon Knight is too gross and yucky...
Whoa!
Thank you!
All right, we're back, and we're going to talk about Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. It was released in 1995. It was directed by Ernest Dickerson. In there was 11 counts of body, including flashbacks and Billy Zane, who's actually a demon. There are 3 counts of naughty, 1 really big count of naughty, and then 2 minor counts of naughty.
Yeah, one big one's got like 7 counts of naughty within it.
So much naughty in it.
Uncle Willie.
Sub-naughty.
Uncle Willie. Uncle Willie.
It cost $12 million to make, and it earned $21.1 million. It was the first of a Tales from the Crypt movie trilogy, none of which have anything to do with the other than they're only connected by the amazing Crypt Keeper and the key. And the key is just a prop in the other one. So, Brett, do that thing you do.
All right, so one of the prisoners from Shawshank Redemption is running from the shithead fiance from Titanic, and nobody really knows why. And Billy Zane himself is known as the Collector, and he's chasing this fugitive, who in turn is holding the final of the 7th keys that is keeping the demons from returning to Earth. And it's up to Breaker and a team of misfits in a rundown church to keep the Collector from taking the final key, as well as the blood of Christ, or numerous life of Christ, and keep human life as we know it from being evaporated from the earth.
All right. Well, there it is. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of this film, it changed hands for like 8 years before it was ever made. Tom Holland from Child's Play wrote it, but passed it on when he went to direct Fatal Beauty. Mark Carducci, the screenwriter for Pumpkinhead, had it for several years. Then he gave it to Mary Lambert, who directed Pet Sematary. But after the theatrical bomb that was Pet Sematary 2, which we have to talk about at some point, she couldn't get anyone to invest. Charles Band from Full Moon Films, or Full Moon Pictures, whatever it was at the time, he had it, but he couldn't afford to do it. Finally ended up in Joel Silver's hands, who ended up getting it made through his company, Silver Pictures, with the intent of making it the second part in a trilogy, but the other 2 movies never got made. So they replaced them with Bordello, Blood, and Ritual. Lots of producers on this. Standouts include Joel Silver, who has produced a lot of action films like Predator, Lethal Weapon, Die Hard, etc. Robert Zemeckis, who directed Back to the Future films, Forrest Gump, Contact, Castaway, and Richard Donner, famous for The Omen, Superman films, Goonies, and he directed all the Lethal Weapon movies. So the director, Ernest Dickerson, basically directed 2 movies after this, and then he is out of Hollywood. And he's making TV after that. So it either didn't really affect the careers of some people, or it totally shifted them in just a strange direction. Ernest Dickerson, probably the strangest. So who doesn't love the Crypt Keeper, though? Am I right?
Like, oh my seriously. God, he's so
totally
great.
Agree.
The Crypt Keeper even if you hate the rest of this movie, just watching the beginning and the ending with the Crypt Keeper is totally worth it because he's great.
I love
him.
I love the ending with like the freaking the guillotine. He's like,
oh,
I guess my
so
producers, like you know, like I guess they want their cut.
So good. So good.
It's almost so juvenile in his jokes, but they're delivered so well that you just can't help but giggle.
Oh yeah, I grew up on that shit, man. Like my dad used to make me watch Tales from the Crypt when I was like 6 or 7.
I loved Tales from the Crypt as a kid, and you just saw like it got what's the word I'm looking for? Like people tried to emulate it, and they just never. It never got there. They like what they tried to do Freddy's Nightmares, which was basically the same thing.
Oh yeah,
and that didn't work out.
I feel like the only good one was like the Friday the 13th, and it has nothing to do with Friday the 13th movies.
Has nothing to do with Friday the 13th. And then they did the Fear itself was like the 1 hour long mini movies, and then there was the Masters of Horror, but they didn't have the Crypt Keeper part. They just took the mini movie part. So cool series. Oh, some of them were okay. Some of them were terrible. But anyway, I think as the film progresses, Billy Zane, for what it's worth, becomes extremely entertaining as the film goes on.
He's great.
But he's like, I just don't know why I don't like Billy Zane, man. I don't have a good reason. He's probably not a bad person.
I have a good reason. He looks like Pete. He looks like Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy, and I want to punch him in the head.
He does. He does look like
punch him square in the nose.
Pete Wentz.
I fucking hate that guy.
He's like too good looking. You know what I mean? And he's just weird. He's just a weird guy. I don't know.
I have to actually disagree with Billy Zane. There's something about him in this movie that it's really upsetting to say this, but this is like his penultimate performance. I loved every single time he was on scene, and I thought he was the best character right from I'm not gonna do this cowboy shit anymore. Well, ho there, motherfuckers! I was like, this is fucking awesome.
He's got
and
a
then
real...
he kisses the demon babies.
Oh yeah, he's got a real Beetlejuice.
That was the best part.
This
was my favorite part. Was when he kisses the demon babies.
I actually showed that scene to people at work. I was like, because I was talking to them, like, yo, we just watched a couple movies. Because I watched these movies back to back, and I was like, I just watched this movie, and Billy Zane is amazing. And they're like, who the fuck is Billy Zane? I'm like, let me show you who Billy Zane is.
The Phantom,
well, I didn't even do the Phantom. I just looked at him. I said, I have a child. And they're like, the dude from Titanic? I'm like, yes. He pretends to be a really bad cowboy for like the first 15-20 minutes and then just goes crazy, and it's great.
It is awesome.
So good.
Also, William Sadler is a great leading man for this movie too.
Oh yeah,
he's Breaker.
He is. He was in the original Tales from the Crypt like shows. Like he was in one of the first ones.
Yeah, and he's been in other stuff too. He's in Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah.
Shawshank Redemption.
Die Hard 2. The Faculty. He's been in Shawshank Redemption. He's a character actor. At least that's what he got thrown into. But I would have loved to have seen him in other roles as the leading guy, because I think he definitely could have pulled it off. He's got pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? He's got like really good cowboy features, if that makes any sense.
He has a unique look,
grizzly, like gritty look that he could have been like either a good leading man, and he might be a genre lead, so he could have been like a good leading man in like horror films, or a good leading man in cowboy movies, or like turn of the century type movies.
I thought that I agree, because I the way that I would describe it is he has a very unique facial structure, and I thought that I had really only known him very much through Die Hard and Shawshank Redemption, which, like you said, he plays very almost over the top characters. And I thought that him as a leading man, he played this great. He seems like a villain, but ends up being a good guy, and he plays it so well. I was actually impressed with his performance.
I love him in Bill and Ted. He's the best death ever.
He is good. Yeah.
Right.
You may be a king or a mere street sweeper, but sooner or later you dance with the Reaper.
You know, I'm voting him for True Detective Season 3, him and Tony Todd. There you go.
I would love to see that.
Oh my god. I'd line up at the door. Oh my god,
Right?
that's great.
I would love to see that.
I'd start watching that show again.
Oh, the second season was so bad.
I didn't even see it. The first one was like, I was like, I'm done. This is great.
I love the first one. I thought the first one was really good.
Great. But
That's why when I heard the second one was bad, I'm like, I'm out.
I like the second one. It was like Lost Highway, but True Detective.
So, I just don't. You gotta go through like 6 episodes before you even get into a gunfight. Not for me. Not for me. And I hate Matthew McConaughey too. And that show changed my mind on him because he was really good in that show. So
good.
So and then of course Jada Pinkett Smith is in here.
She wasn't Smith yet. She wasn't Smith. Just Jada Pinkett.
Oh, Jada Pinkett.
She's Jada Pinkett.
This movie made Will Smith want to marry her.
Yeah, sure.
I can't stand her. All right. And for a long time I'm like, oh yeah, she's a very good looking woman, but I didn't think she was a very good actress. Now I think she's still a good looking woman. She's still not a good actress, and now she's just a pain in the ass. The Oscar thing last year, you guys know about that, right?
Yeah.
The Oscar so white thing, like that made me so furiously angry, and it was all because she thought that Will Smith deserved an Oscar for the Concussion movie.
Oh yeah.
Which wasn't good.
Give me a fucking break. I saw her band at Ozfest in 2005 with Donnie. Like Ozfest, you so white.
Crypt Keeper, you so white.
Come on, man. It's 2016.
She sucks, man. I can't stand her. Like the Oscar thing really made me mad because like it was just a dumb protest movement to get Will Smith, who is a terrible actor from West Philadelphia, nominated for a
born and
movie,
raised.
nominated for a movie that he wasn't very good in, and that itself was just a bad movie. Like, I'm just gonna say this: Will Smith is not an actor; he's a movie star, and there is a difference.
Big difference.
Oh, I love Will Smith. Come on.
Do you really?
I love him. Yeah.
No,
I would hang out with that guy all day.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's a good actor.
He's got a kind heart though. That guy, he's like fucking big time, but he seems like he would go fucking
Big Willie style. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. No.
If you want to go to fucking Miami with him, that's great. But at the end of the day, you watch like something like Independence Day, and you're like, yeah, I'd really hang out with Captain Hale. But I wouldn't believe anything he said because he's a fucking terrible actor. Like, let's just
Will Smith's fucking awesome, dude. I used to like to skateboard. I haven't done it in like 10 years. I feel like he'd show up at my house with a skateboard and be like, you need to do it again. We need to skate. Like, he just brings the best out of people.
But here's the thing. And let me finish my point before you fucking fawn all over Will Smith.
You fawn.
A movie star gets put into big budget pictures where they have everything already in place for them. All the equipment is state of the art. All the effects cost a ton of money. All they have to do is look good and learn their lines. That's it. Will Smith hasn't acted like anyone except for Will Smith in his entire career. He was Will Smith versus aliens, Will Smith versus the CIA, Will Smith versus drug cartels, Will Smith versus concussions,
Will Smith versus the robot.
Will Smith versus a robot. Next summer it's gonna be Will Smith versus jealousy.
See, I have something to say about that though. Will Smith versus Freddy Krueger. Nightmare on My Street. Think about it. You ever hear that song? It's a great song.
No,
I haven't heard.
No. You need to look that song up.
I can't tell if you're being fucking serious right now.
I'm totally fucking serious. Like 1986, 87 Will Smith. Prince of Bel-Air. Or it might have even been before that. Nightmare on My Street. Will Smith versus Freddy Krueger. He's not afraid of nothing. Like, he's not afraid of anything.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to Blood, Guts, and Fresh Prince. We are talking about...
Look, and I'm not saying that... Look, just hear me out here, because I'm not saying that there's no place for Will Smith or that all of his movies are bad. There's a place for those movies. Men in Black is a really funny movie. And he's got comic timing. It's not like he has no talent. Bad Boys is a good movie. I loved Independence Day when it came out. I'm not going to say he isn't talented. That wouldn't be fair. Because it takes talent to drive that much money, and that's what he does. He makes a ton of money. He's totally bankable. You have to maintain your relevance and your looks and your appeal. None of that is easy. What I'm saying is that no one in their right mind, maybe Bub does, says Will Smith is my favorite actor, because you need a real actor to be alongside Will Smith to drive the movie. Gene Hackman, Jeff Goldblum, Tommy Lee Jones. More likely, it's not that Will Smith is your favorite actor. It's Will Smith movies are my favorite kind of movies. That sounds more right to me. And hopefully you're not saying Will Smith is my favorite rapper, because Jesus Christ. Will Smith is like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like Sylvester Stallone. And Stallone has an edge because he got nominated for an Academy Award twice.
And he was homeless.
Yep.
So, all right. Now that I've done ranting about Will Smith, let's move to the part where CCH Pounder gets her arm ripped off, and I laugh hysterically, nonstop, my uncontrollable laughter every single time it happens.
That's when the prostitute brings lets Billy Zane in, right?
Yeah.
I love Billy Zane's little temptation dreams. I love them.
Oh yeah, me too.
They're so good.
They're so good.
And before he rips the arm off, he punches straight through that cop's face. I love that.
Oh my god, it's a great
head
scene.
Stuck on his arm.
And then he throws the head and he says, "Heads up." The interior setting of this like mission or whatever, though, it does look almost exactly the same as the interior of the movie Eaten Alive. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie.
Yep.
You've seen it, right, Bub?
Yep.
It's a tough watch, but
totally similar.
It definitely does look. That's one of the things that jumped out at me, because I just saw it for the first time earlier this year. So there's a lot of flashbacks and backstory in this movie, and I thought that made it sort of confusing to watch. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it is weird how it jumps around, you know? I mean, like when he touches them, and then it jumps back to back in the day when the guys are on the crosses and they're collecting the blood and the key, you know? But I feel like they round it out pretty good, you know? I mean, they kind of let you know what's going on.
I was okay with it because it at least came up with somewhat of a explanation, because at first it was like his first flashback was like a disciple for Jesus saw a demon at the crucifix, and I was like, and even the first flashback just doesn't even really show that. It just shows, Jesus being put up with the nails, and I'm like, wait, what is Breaker Jesus? And then as the movie continued forward and they kind of gave you the whole synopsis on the past, I found it acceptable. And I thought that this movie somehow, in some weird, strange way, actually had its own logic to its own narrative. There were reasons why you shot the demons in the eyes. There were reasons why...
I like that, though. That was cool.
Oh, I love that. I love how they're...
See, me too. I love the shooting in the eyes. I thought it was a great feature.
I just feel like we spent 15% of that movie in a flashback or backstory mode, when you could have summarized the whole thing in 15 seconds. And
I agree.
And then it causes you to beg the question as far as okay, well, Breaker's been alive since 1914 or whatever they said it was. Like, how has he done that? They don't really explain it. They explain it a little bit. They touch on it, and you know that it's something supernatural, but you just... It's kind of... And then you're like, whoa, hold on. We just spent freaking, a good chunk of this movie talking about, Christ. We can't take 5 seconds to say, like, how this works out. Like, and maybe it's just a personal, problem that I have with stuff like that, because, like, sometimes the less I know, the easier it is for me to take in the whole plot. As far as history, stuff that's not happening on screen, that's really part of the movie. You know what I mean? So it sounds like a stupid thing to kind of gripe over, but this is my show. I'll fucking gripe if I want. I don't give a shit.
Hey, you know what I really loved about Billy Zane though, and like those like flashback moments, like or like
everything
when he's doing his little thing, like and like trying to pull them in. He really reminded me of Henry Rollins from the Liar video.
Yeah.
He's like
nice.
You think you're gonna live your life alone in darkness and seclusion? Yeah, I know.
I really think that actually Billy Zane, like, okay, so we can all say that he's probably a pretty good looking dude, because I mean, shit, who doesn't sweat Pete Wentz? But
he's a handsome fellow.
He's a handsome fellow, but I really think he missed his calling in voice acting, because his inflection and how he said these things, like you were saying in those scenes, he was so, this is going to sound terrible, but he was so seductive. Like, that was his whole persona, and I thought he nailed it in those scenes, and it wasn't just his motions and his abilities. His voice was so comforting.
Oh, dude, I want to crank up some fucking Kenny G and get down. Like,
girl.
It was fucking serious.
Well, you guys know where Billy Zane is today?
I don't know. How many bridges are there in Los Angeles?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
9. You guys can call him tonight, 1-900 Billy Zane.
Oh my God! Can we call that number right now on the podcast?
That's not a real thing, is it?
I hope it is.
Okay. Because there would be a phone call being made right now.
Right? Hey, Billy, you're on the line.
Congratulations, Billy. You're on my podcast.
We're talking about Demon Knight. Click.
About 4 people listen to this a week.
He'll be like, give me the G.
There's the one part where Thomas Hayden Church. Oh, who's in this, by the way? We haven't talked about him yet. Ned.
No,
Ned
he's on my list. He's on my list.
Roach.
He spits on one of the demons.
They don't like that.
And Breaker comes up to him. He's like, "Hey, they really hate that."
Yeah.
I love that part.
I love
foreshadowing.
That part. That's such a good part.
Foreshadowing.
And of course, we have yet to talk about the massive amount of boobs when Uncle Willie is getting tempted, and then Billy Zane, the genius Billy Zane, is dressed up like Hunter S. Thompson serving him drinks. Wonderful.
Have another.
Wonderful. Why didn't they consider him for Fear and Loathing? You know?
Oh,
How do you think that would have turned out?
Nah, fuck that. Johnny Depp did it perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, he really pulled off a mixture between Hunter S. Thompson and Pitbull. Like, it was just fantastic.
He's like, New Mexico! Pitbull!
Fireball!
I think my favorite part of the movie, I said it was when Billy Zane was kissing the demon. I lied. It's when that little kid turns into a demon.
Yeah.
When
Danny?
Breaker's trying to give Jada Pinkett the key, and he's like, "You're the chosen one. I came here to give you this key." And Danny just pops out. He's like, "Can I have it?" And they just start I love that part. Bub, what's your favorite part?
I don't know. It's so tough, you know. I don't really know.
I have a favorite part.
Go.
I love when Roach, aka Thomas Hayden Church, decides to give in to the demands or the seductive nature of Billy Zane.
It's hard not to.
Actually, I'm a little upset. I might have to give away my man card. I might have to give away my man card on this podcast because of how much I'm referring to Billy Zane as seductive. But I'm like, he gives in to him and just like walks past his little demon army. Because, you know, Billy Zane just kind of like hops up like all like funny up the stairs. And he's like walking away. And I'm like, this motherfucker is so dead. And just, even though I knew it was coming, like Billy Zane like, oh, hey, by the way, I lie. And then the blood splattering of...
That brings me back to the Henry Rollins thing. Where he's like, I lie.
Yeah.
I
it was
like
so
it.
good. It was so good.
I do it a lot.
I was like, I want Roach and his mesh shirt to just fucking get destroyed, and I got everything I wanted.
He's another terrible actor, man. He's so bad. When has Thomas Hayden Church not played Thomas Hayden Church in any movie he's ever been in? Anything. He's always played the same kind of like goofy, like, okay, man. Like, it's like a Iggy Pop without a Midwestern accent. It's like annoying.
That's an apt comparison. I'm going to go ahead and go with that, because the other night I caught myself watching just random movies, and I watched Easy A, which is actually a pretty funny movie in
with
spurts.
Emma Stone?
Yeah.
I love her, man.
Yeah, she's great. And actually, if you've ever seen Easy A, it's an underrated... It's an homage to kind of the 80s, the 80s romantic comedies, but he plays a principal. He plays like a cool teacher in it, and he plays the great character of Thomas Hayden Church. Like, he is just him. Like, there's no other way going around it. But yeah, his death was fantastic. I loved it.
Trying to think what else. Yeah. Oh, we talked about that. Oh, do you know there's another fucking amazing part? This is like the Billy Zane show. When Billy Zane and Jada Pinkett are like the only people left, and then Billy Zane gets mad at Jada Pinkett because she's not talking to him because she has a mouthful of Jesus blood. And she's just waiting for the right moment. And it's like 10 minutes.
It goes on forever. It goes on forever.
Yeah, it's way too long.
It's like, I love you. Maybe
Wait,
you
that
could.
part was funny.
Maybe you could look me.
But yeah, so he gets mad, and then he comes fire. Like fire just shoots out of his crotch, and it's amazing.
Yes.
Oh, and he's like, whoa, doggy. I'm sorry, I got carried away. I'm sorry.
and then of course she spits the blood in his face, and he has an awesome death. The death for Thomas Hayden Church was pretty fucking awesome too. Like, it was really brutal. There's some really good gore and violence in this movie, like, and it's done really, really well. I'm like, you know, some of the like lightning effects, of course, you know, it's 1995 after all. It's 20 years old, so
yeah, they're pretty bad.
It's bad, but back, and we wouldn't have noticed back then. And in 20 years from now, we're gonna watch Avatar and be like, shit, this looks terrible.
Blue skin.
How did anybody watch it?
Come on.
How did anybody watch this?
Blue skin.
But yeah, and then Billy Zane dies, and it was sad. It really, the movie tanks from there on out because there's no Billy Zane. I love the part when he's like on the balcony after he kills Thomas Hayden Church, and he's just like, kind of like, come out, wherever you are, and he's just being such a weirdo.
He's like, come out! It's like we're all playing hide and seek or manhunt one night as kids, and somebody's parent comes out and tells us we all need to go home. He's just like, all right, game's over. Everybody come out now.
So good. The guy who plays Wally, who dies pretty early in the movie, is Charles Fleischer. He was also the voice of Roger Rabbit. Did you guys know that?
No.
That's the one that was gonna shoot up the post office, but he got killed before he had the chance. And he was kind of in love with that hooker girl. He was also in Nightmare on Elm Street, and he has a small part in that movie Zodiac, which is the most terrifying part in the entire movie.
The David Fincher film?
Yeah. Did you guys see that movie?
I love that movie. I love that movie.
Brett, did you see Zodiac?
I haven't. It's actually on my my Netflix queue to watch.
Criminally underrated movie.
Oh yeah,
Really?
it's like right before Robert Downey Jr. got clean. Like he's all fucked up in that movie.
This guy played the part where, you remember, he goes to, I'm not going to be giving too much away, Brett, because I mean we all know that they never called the Zodiac, so I'm not giving anything. I'm not going to ruin it for you. It's still a creepy part. There's no way I can describe it and convey how creepy it is. The part where he goes into the basement. Bruce, you know, or Bub, you know what I'm talking about, right? Where he goes to the guy's house and he's like, I drew all the movie posters.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they start on your, and then like he starts turning out the lights.
And
I'm
Jake
like,
Gyllenhaal's right the fuck out of there.
Oh, dude, like that part had me like crawling the first time I saw it. That was so creepy.
It's a great movie.
Oh, it's such a good movie. And the fun fact before we rate this one, the film was shot almost entirely in an airport hangar, and but there were like a ton of birds in the top of it, so every day before they started shooting, somebody from the crew had to fire blanks to scare the birds out because they would fuck with the mics. So anybody got anything else to add before we rate this bad boy?
Well, I definitely want to throw in a little bit of a conspiracy crawl space.
Oh, yes, it's time for the crawl space.
You gotta.
Get your tinfoil hats ready. It's time to cozy up in Brett's conspiracy crawl space on Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray.
Well, I mean, it's not too crazy for this one, but Billy Zane is actually the hero in this movie. And I kind of feel bad that he lost and was reincarnated again as a Steve Urkel lookalike towards the end of the movie. Because the way they described the story, like the backstory, the demons were on Earth. They were there in the darkness before God came along. And actually, this is very Columbus Day special, ladies and gentlemen, the more you know. They were there just living their lives, doing their thing. They weren't going to other planets. They were just, the demons were demons. They encompassed Earth. In this story, God came along and said, nah, you guys are freaks and you're weird and I don't like it. So, boom, I'm gonna go ahead and put you guys in purgatory and I'm gonna send all these keys around. So, if you follow the story, these creatures had their own planet, and some being just said, okay, well, you don't belong here. This isn't your world, so go away now and get trapped. So Billy Zane is really trying to free his people from the radicals that took over the world. So when I heard the story, I'm like, the humans aren't really that bad. And yes, okay, so Billy Zane's lying, but anybody would lie to get their home world back. So to me, I kind of felt like Billy Zane was actually the hero, and it actually has a sad ending to it.
Let me ask you this: in the Karate Kid, do you think that Daniel is the bad guy, or do you think that Johnny is the bad guy?
He's gonna say Daniel.
I'm gonna say Daniel. Cobra Kai.
Have you seen that video on the internet yet?
No, I haven't.
There's a video that says Daniel LaRusso is the bad guy in Karate Kid.
Well, yeah, that makes perfect
YouTube,
fucking
and
sense.
They make like this airtight, like they could win this case in court. Like that's how good of a case.
I agree, because I feel like this movie, like the demons, if you're gonna be a demon and you're gonna be some sort of creature from the dark, you've got to have a backstory about fucked up shit you were doing to the human race. But this movie says, oh, well, they were just minding their own fucking business on their planet, just doing what they do, being demons. And then God says, no, I want these people here. They are pure. Fuck you, Billy Zane.
I love that Bruce is cracking up in the background.
Brett's like terrible. Brett's terrible.
I'm terrible?
Yeah.
So I'm terrible because there's a people that we don't understand because they have these weird ways of life. And
No.
some big white dude with a beard is just like, no, you are not allowed to be here.
No, I think you're awesome, dude. I don't think you're terrible, but I think the way you explain it's terrible. The way Brett's going about it, he's like, so it's 1940s Germany, and we're just Germans, and the Jews just walk in. Like, you're not gonna win that fight.
I'm not trying to win a fight, okay? Okay, listen up, sheeple. I'm trying to share some truth.
Listen.
I'm trying to share some truth.
Out of control.
Listen, I'm not saying what John Wayne Gacy filled his basement with was good, but he fucking filled it, all right?
Oh my god.
Well, okay, you know what? You guys keep living the life that you have and the lies that you've agreed with, but
Poor
demons.
Richard Ramirez is just looking for a house to sleep in, and then what do you know? He breaks into the house of an old woman, and of course he has to stab her.
See, that's my point. They stabbed the demons for no reason. They were just like, hey, what's up, man? We got an Xbox. Want to hang out? So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my conspiracy crawl space. Please make sure you tell us at Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray if you think I am right. If you think I'm wrong, please don't comment.
I'm gonna start a poll on this on Twitter.
Dude, go for it. Go for it. Billy Zane, a hero.
That was good, Brett. That was good. It was only... Well, no, it wasn't good, but it was good because you got Bruce to laugh harder than I've ever seen him laugh in my life.
Can I throw a disclosure out there as I've done before? I'm not necessarily on the team of Brett 667's conspiracy crawl space. I just come up with them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
You have no accountability.
Fuck yeah.
You can just say whatever you want, huh?
Future president, brother.
What's your rating for this?
Oh man, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thoroughly enjoyed Billy Zane as the collector, and I can't think of his name right now, but Breaker. This is not a great movie, but I just enjoyed it from start to finish. I laughed when I knew I should laugh, and I laughed when I probably shouldn't. The glow stick mouths and the glowing eyes were hysterical, and of course, the head of the household losing her arm and drinking vodka the entire... The movie was just bonkers, and I found it very funny with, of course, the Crypt Keeper keeping pace and having that beginning to end movie, which actually that kind of seems to be a theme in this this entire episode of there's a little story going on in the beginning and the end, and I did thoroughly enjoy it. I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Bub?
After how hard I just laughed, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I was going to give it a 3 out of 5, but, I just laughed pretty hard, so that's an extra half a point.
I'm giving it a 3.5 as well. Billy Zane's name has never been mentioned more in one sitting than it has tonight. That's for sure. Not even Hollywood has said his name this many times.
Can we post this on his Twitter page or his MySpace or wherever he has so that he can see this?
Well, I'll give him a shout out.
I'm gonna get it on there. He's gonna retweet it.
Billy Zane, be our retweet, brother. You can do this.
I shouldn't have made that bridge comment then, huh?
No, probably a bad idea.
He's gonna come get you. No. He's gonna be outside your window tonight, like, Brian, I know you don't like me, but come on, I'm alright.
Just let me in. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in.
You can't find me. All right. Well, that concludes a extremely interesting episode. Definitely an interesting finish of our Halloween countdown, part 3. Part 4, we're going to talk about Lost After Dark and Hellraiser. We got a big show for right before Halloween. I'm really, really, really excited about it. So thanks for listening. We love you guys. Make sure you send us a tweet. We got a ton of new followers this week on Twitter, and we just want to say thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen to our show, and hope you enjoy it very much. Toodaloo.
Good evening.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray. Written and hosted by Bloodbath, Bub, and Brett667. Edited and produced by Bloodbath. Music has been graciously provided by the Slasher Film Festival Strategy and Nightbirds. Artwork and logo have been provided by Bub. Blood, Guts, and Blu-ray is available on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, as well as @BloodGutsBluray on Twitter, @BloodGutsandBluray on Instagram, and visit our Tumblr page by going to bloodgutsandbluray.tumblr.com. For any questions regarding the show, advertising, or anything else, please send an email to bloodgutsandbluray@gmail.com. Thanks again. Get possessed.